All right, hello everybody. My name is Adam Clegg, and I will be presenting my informative presentation on the world's shift from gas to electric, specifically how Tesla is the main front for this, the main pusher for this. In this presentation, I will be sharing three main points with you. The first is, what is Tesla's role in climate change? The second is the goal of Tesla, and the third is what effect Tesla has had on the world so far. I want to start with giving some statistics really quick. On the right-hand side here, there's two different graphs. The one on the left shows a projected global carbon emissions, and that starts from 1900 and gets projected up into 2100. Same thing with the graph on the right there, but the right one's showing the projected global temperature, so a little bit similar, and you can see how they correlate a little bit here. In 2020-ish is kind of where these graphs start with the colors. And you can see that in most of the scenarios, we are going to have a lot more global carbon emissions before they start to go down. High scenario, it doesn't even go down within 80 years from now. This is getting to be a really big problem. Carbon emissions lead to temperatures rising, which we can see on the right-hand side, and that's global temperatures. So they're going to start to spike, and they already are starting to spike, actually. In 1880, it was scientists had discovered that the temperature of the Earth was changing about 0.14 degrees every year, and that's increasing. And that was up until about 1981. And since then, it's been going twice as fast, about 0.32 degrees Fahrenheit, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that is a ton of increase in temperature. And that can lead, that's possibly due to our input of carbon emissions, could be just the Earth cycle, but we definitely see that humans do have some effect on the carbon emissions. And then we can see with these two graphs here that there is a correlation with the global temperature. This means that ice caps will melt, oceans will rise, flooding places, killing people, causing a lot of problems which we do not want to have. And that moves on to the first point here. What is Tesla's role in climate change? There's four main points I want to go here. The first is that they produce zero emission cars. The second is that they're creating technology that encourages renewable energy and is encouraging other companies as well. The third is how they're reducing their carbon emissions. And the last is how they're influencing the automotive market. So the first point here, producing zero emission vehicles, they started in 2009, and they started out with the Roadster, and it was kind of a fad vehicle. It is the first electric vehicle they made. Nobody really thought that it would work very well, but it turned out to be super successful, gained them a lot of traction. It was a super fun, zippy car, and that's how Tesla kind of got its name. Since then, and especially after the Model 3 was released a couple years ago, they've had a huge rise in stock and push of these vehicles out. To date, they've had about 3 million plus vehicles go out, and that's climbing every day with their new factory in Texas, producing so many cars per day, which is amazing. We need it. The second point here, creating technology that encourages renewable energy. So Tesla is not only a car company, they're also a solar company. You don't see it a lot, but if you look in their website, they do have sections in their website for what they call solar shingles, as well as their power walls and power packs. So essentially, a solar shingle replaces the shingles on your roof with solar panel shingles that look nice and not the big, ugly square rectangles on people's roofs. And this allows for a lot more solar coverage. And the Tesla Powerwall will basically suck in all that energy and store it. And then your house can use what it needs, and then it stores the rest. And like if the power goes out, you can still be able to have electricity essentially. So they're pushing a lot with that. The third point here, reducing carbon emissions. Every year, Tesla gives out an impact report. The most recent one that I have information of was 2021, and it said that they had saved 6.8 million metric tons of CO2 emissions. So that's how much could have been produced if they produced regular cars, essentially. So they saved a ton, um, actually 6.8 million tons. But so they're definitely making a pretty good dent in CO2 emissions overall. And the last point here is influencing the market. Um, from the get-go, um, they've been in the public's view, not till recently where they've, had a ton more cars out, but people have noticed them, and they are the lead competitor or the lead manufacturer for electric vehicles currently, and that is pushing more automotive companies to make electric vehicles or hybrid or other sources like natural gas or hydrogen powered cars. So it's pushing a lot of innovation, which is really awesome. And that's kind of, well, that moves into the next point really well of what the goal of Tesla is. And their main goal to me is to push other car manufacturers to produce electric cars. These two graphs, especially the one on the right, are great examples of how they are already achieving their goal very well. So the one on the left is just showing the amount of vehicles, electric vehicles in the US, and these are the sales. And these are specifically only plug-ins, so not a hybrid. The As you can see, Tesla is in the lead every single year that this graph is charted here. And 2018, huge jump. They had almost 370,000 Model 3s out, which is just crazy compared to every other car company. That's just insane. So they're pushing a ton of cars out. And you can see that their influence is pushing more and more car companies to make more cars that are electric or hybrid or something like that. The graph on the right is the one that I like a little bit better, and it just shows a projection starting from 2020 to 2030 of Tesla EV sales compared to every other car company and their EV sales. So they're in the blue, and it's kind of hard to see because the numbers are blocking it. They're right here. But they're in the lead in 2020 and 2021. After that, all the other car companies start kind of overtaking them, which is good. This is what we want. But they still have a huge amount of cars being produced and will be producing. This is projecting 2030 to be over 1 million vehicles in 1 year, which is a crazy number. The red, however, is everybody else's, and you can see that it jumps up significantly and very quickly. Just over a course of these 10 years that it shows, it goes from hardly nothing to almost 4 million, which is crazy. Now we'll talk about Tesla's effect on the world. We saw a little bit of it with that graph there, but I'll just tell you some cool things about it. So Tesla has pushed this electric car revolution ever since they started. They've gotten a huge following. I love them. I'm sure a lot of people love them as well. And we're seeing tons more on the road. They have their autopilot technology, the best safety standards in the car world, best ratings on basically everything. They're so far advanced of everything else. It's just crazy. And as they continue to get more popular in electric vehicles as well, other car manufacturers were starting to miss out on portions of this market, especially when you look at Tesla's stock. It goes from nothing to 4 times as much as the lead stock, which was Toyota at the time. And Toyota had a huge jump in the market, and they just blew past them. So they're like, where are they getting their audience from? What are they doing that we could be doing? And that's electric cars. So manufacturers like Ford, GM, Porsche, and Toyota have been starting to make. Recently, it's been hybrids. and now it's starting to be electric vehicles. And GM, General Motors, they actually pledged by 2035 to have all of their cars that they're making be electric vehicles. That's their little cars, their SUVs, their trucks, everything. So it's going to be a really cool change to see here in the coming years. And the downside with electric vehicles currently is that they're very expensive. Tesla's budget cars, their 3 and their Y, they are cheap, but they could still be considered to be on the more expensive side. You could get a Hyundai or a Kia for like 20 grand, and a Tesla you could probably get lowest probably 28, 25. So that's close, but that's the cheapest. But you want to get the options, you want to get the autopilot, and that leads to $45,000, which is still not as much as like an F-150, which base price is like 50 grand. So it is getting better in the price, but you look at like the Model S and the Model Y, they're super performance cars. When you get them out, they are $140,000. No one can afford that except for 1% of the population. So to help with this, they've been able to lower their prices. And also, when you buy an electric vehicle, you can get a tax write-off for having a zero-emission vehicle. And I don't know the exact number, probably $4,000 to $5,000 that you can get back when you claim it on your taxes. But there's a pretty good significant benefit of getting a car right off the bat there. And this is helping with all the new electric vehicles coming out. All these new ones are coming out and they're super expensive. You have the Ford Lightning, which is like 90 grand. The Hummer, electric Hummer that just came out, starts at like $125,000, which is so expensive for a car, but nobody can afford that. So Tesla has their prices at a good spot right now, but they're pushing them further and further down as much as they can while still making enough profit to grow and be successful. So this helps to push other vehicles, other car manufacturers to drop their prices even lower. And I predict in the future that there will have electric vehicles for 15, 20 grand, super affordable. And yeah, Tesla is just kind of this unstoppable force. There's not really a lot of things that can stop it except for everybody else ganging up on them, which is what they want. They want electric vehicles to be produced. They want this innovation. They want this excitement about it, and to stop making gasoline cars to help with climate change. And this is where I go to my call to action. I just lead with you to get an electric vehicle. You get good tax benefits from it. You're saving a lot of CO2. And just by yourself, one person's not going to do a lot, but you spreading the word, you driving the car, you getting people excited about it will help influence them to, change their mind to get an EV, a hybrid, or any of those kind of low emission vehicles or zero emission vehicles. This can help with our CO2 emissions. That graph in the beginning, we can drop that down so we don't have our climate change and our temperatures rising. We can get those lowered down to a better spot. And yeah, just go green with EVs, like it says there. Simple as that. Anyways, thank you for listening to me ramble on about Teslas. I love them, and I hope you do too. Bye.